Hello and welcome to another video in the series that I have yet to name. Maybe I should stop referring to this as a series. It hasn't exactly been very consistent. And today, we get to do yet another install on one of my computers in the collection. This is a 2005 IBM ThinkPad T43. Under the hood, it's got a Pentium M clocked at either 1.6 GHz or 1.8. I can't remember what mine has. 512 megabytes of RAM, a 40, 60, or 80 gigabyte hard drive. Also can't remember what one mine has. An ATI Mobility Radeon X300 with 64 megabytes of allocated memory. And it also features stuff like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. It is, in my mind, sort of one of the quintessential IBM ThinkPads, really. Like, when you think ThinkPad, at least in my mind, this is one of the models that pops into my head. But to me, I think what's actually interesting about mine is maybe not the laptop itself. I mean, they are kind of interesting, and this will actually be a fun experience because I've never got to actually use the rescue and restore CDs for these things before. But more actually how I acquired this thing. Now, it should come as no surprise, as a person who is a big collector of retro techie stuff, that one of my go-to spots all the time to find interesting stuff is Value Village. And what makes this find kind of unique is that you don't typically find computers in a Value Village. Whether that's because I've never been sure if it's because that's their policy not to take computers. I know some thrift stores are like that, and probably also a combination of that, and also computers probably don't turn up all that often in their donation spot. At least ours doesn't. I'm sure maybe some bigger city ones might, but around here, it's probably not the case. It has changed actually recently. I have come across a few computers at Value Village that I've actually bought and flipped for more money than what I bought them for. But back when I found this is like the first computer I actually found at a Value Village, and it was kind of a cool experience because, well, this thing was in a carrying bag on the electronics shelf, pretty much sandwiched between the 15,000 VCRs and DVD players and the all-in-one stereo combos, the 6 CD changer with dual cassette that every dad has in their garage. And I pushed it to move it out of the way for something, and it had some weight to it, and I decided to have a look, and the last thing I was expecting was to find a fairly complete IBM ThinkPad. It had the laptop itself, the dock, and the original charger, plus a mouse. And some miscellaneous cables just as a bonus, and all packaged together for 25 bucks. I couldn't resist, and I ended up picking it up. However, when I got it home, there were a few things that are wrong with this thing. Really, the three major things that are wrong with this is one of the trackpad buttons is broken. I've kind of been meaning to replace it. I think it is literally just the button that's underneath the cover, whatever you want to call it. The IBM track point nub is missing. And the biggest issue actually with this laptop is the LCD doesn't work. I have done a couple troubleshooting attempts with it. I've actually replaced the LCD inverter, which is what I originally thought it was, because the issue it was having for a while was that it wouldn't stay consistently bright. It would basically kind of dim like it would if you were to close the lid or leave it on standby for a while. And I originally thought it was the inverter, as that's what I was led to believe. But upon replacing it, nothing changed, and so I'm just basically going to assume it's the LCD that needs replacement, and I still haven't replaced it. And because of that screen issue, I am simply just going to be using this external monitor with, a Lenovo keyboard, and I'm just going to be running it like this, unfortunately. I do wish the screen worked because I would just be using the laptop, but unfortunately, I get to replace that, and I actually want to get on with this. And so, I have all of these totally legitimate restore discs that, weren't burned from a collection of ISOs from archive.org. And you might as well get on with this. Fuck's sakes. All right. Now this is actually pretty unique to me because I've actually done a couple of factory restores of my computers before. Oh, it actually wants to jump right into it. Yeah, so what I was going to say anyway, but before I mention that, generally when you do like a system restore, it's not anything crazy interesting. When I did the system recovery on my XPS M1330, it wasn't anything particularly special. It was really just a Windows install with Dell stuff packed into it and some stuff I had to install manually. This is a bit different because it's a lot more involved. I mean, there's a lot, and I mean like a lot of disks that got to go along with this. So it's definitely a bit more unique, and it's kind of an experience that I'm interested in. So I guess it wants a supplementary disk now because I ran this as a test run last night. One thing I should mention, actually, this is a video that I have had planned for a little while, but I did run into a bit of a snag. See, I do have the disk images for this. Obviously, those are not the legitimate IBM restore disks, but they are pretty easy to track down online for this model of laptop. However, I originally tried doing this with a USB instead. I mean, that's generally what I always do with my installs. I mean, the less disks I have to use up, the better, and so mounting the image on a USB usually works pretty good. However, I got hung up with this because I put the rescue and recovery bootable disk image on a USB, put it in here, and it got me as far as the initial pre-desktop interface. And as soon as I went to go to restore it to a factory state, set up how I wanted it to restore, it would get hung up at a specific spot. I can't remember now, this was like a month ago now, but it got me stuck, and I was kind of confused for a little bit why it wasn't working. And so I ended up pushing the video back a bit, both because I had to get some discs for it, and largely some procrastination, to be brutally honest. But I finally bothered to burn the 8 discs that this thing needs to do its restore, and it seems to be working just fine from disk now. I have no idea why it wasn't working from a USB, whether maybe it just can't properly read like a mounted USB, whether it's just how it reads from that drive or whatever, but it simply would not work from a mounted USB no matter what I tried. I tried different software to actually mount the image to the USB. I tried different parameters with Rufus. Literally nothing changed, so I gave up and ultimately just went with disks. And so luckily it's working, which is great. And now we get to sit through the grueling process of actually copying files from a CD, something I don't usually do. Usually I just throw stuff on a USB, and oh my god, does it ever spoil you when you're just used to doing that, because now I have to sit back and wait for it to copy from optical media. Not just one disk, but 1, 2, 3, there's 6 of these product recovery disks, and then there's 6, right? Am I going crazy? Or there's only 5? Yeah, there's 6. Okay, never mind. Yeah, there are 6 of these recovery disks to go through, and we're only on 1. So this will probably be a little while. But hopefully this will be more trouble-free than our Windows 98 install. Uh-oh. What? Okay. Remember what I said about being trouble-free? I'm not 100% sure that's going to come true. We're going to try, I guess, recovery disk 3. I mean, it accepted 2. Alright, well, it seems to be working fine again, so. Alright, things are really not shaping up exactly how I hoped. That might be a problem. Maybe not. I don't know if it's just skipping these files or what, because it's giving me the error and then it's asking me to give it another disk. So I don't know what the issue is. I'm very confused. Well, that's no good. Okay, this is really weird. Should it be doing this? This doesn't feel right. I really don't know if it should be doing this or not. I mean, it seems to be doing something, but it doesn't feel right. It did literally almost nothing with disk 4. So, oh well, I guess we'll find out later. Alright, we've made it to that section, I think. Now it wants a supplemental recovery disk. Okay, well, I just restarted the computer, so I guess we're getting somewhere here. I think. Maybe? I don't know. This is taking a long time. Alright, well, I've been sitting here for 20 minutes and it has not progressed, so I'm gonna restart it and see what happens. I think I seriously jinxed myself at the beginning of this video. Nothing can ever go smooth with this stuff. Normally it likes to beep at me when I just force it to shut off from the button. That's one thing these ThinkPads do that I notice that a lot of my other computers don't do. They like to beep for everything. Usually a lot of beeps for me indicate a bad thing, but this thing just likes to beep when it wants to tell you something. Low battery, it freaking makes like a PC speaker siren noise at you to let you know. It doesn't want you to turn it off by the button, it'll beep at you a bunch until it finally decides to give up. It's very weird, I'm not used to it. And we're right back here again. Aha! We're good to go, maybe? Hopefully? Alright, we're here again. Alright. This is going to be interesting. This may take several minutes. Normally, that's not true from a USB, but considering that we're running this from a disk, it might actually be true, so. God damn it. Well, now what? Now what am I supposed to do? Try it from here again? I don't know. To the original factory state. Don't save files. This was the point that the USB install that I had wasn't working. It would get there and then get stuck. I'm not particularly hopeful for this either. I don't know what it's having a problem with. That's my issue here. I don't know why it's not working. So if this doesn't work again, I'm gonna have to hit the Google machine and figure out what the problem is. Shit. Well, that's what I figured. Well, time to hit Google. While we're here, you might as well have a look at some of the specs of the machine. Okay, so it is a 1.8 gigahertz machine. This has 1 gig of RAM in it, so this must have been updated or upgraded at some point. So that clears that up, I guess. And the BIOS is from 2007. So, must have been updated at some point. Well, I'm gonna hit Google and see if there's anything I can do to figure this out, because this is not going as smoothly as I wanted. Alright, so, after some troubleshooting, after some heavy forum reading, what we're going to try here, because it's been so long since I used this laptop, I don't know if I'd already formatted the drive completely yet, or whatever I've already tried to do with it. And so what we're going to do is use a Windows XP bootable disk, and I'm going to just completely format the drive, completely fresh start, and then we're going to try this process all over again and see if we get anywhere with it. From what I've been reading on the forum posts, apparently this is a really finicky software, this restore thing. I've been finding tons of forum posts that this thing never works right. It is incredibly picky and annoying. So that's a good sign. Yeah, so it has genuinely been months since the last time I actually touched this machine, since I last tried doing this with the USBs. Even before that, I actually can't remember the last time this thing had a properly functioning copy of Windows installed on it, so I have no idea if I've actually ever formatted the drive completely or if I've just tried running the system restore from just a drive that already had Windows on it or not. So what I've done is I've disabled the pre-desktop area, and we're going to format the drive completely, and then we're going to re-enable it and try doing this whole restore process again. And hopefully, fingers crossed, this actually works out, because I don't want to be here all night fighting with an IBM ThinkPad. Alright, we're here at the XP setup, so... Oh god damn it, this is an upgrade disk. We're going to be upgrading with an upgrade disk with another upgrade disk. All right. Yeah, okay, so it does look like the drive kind of set itself up properly here. I don't know what the issue might be, but go ahead and delete some partitions. Okay, well, there we go. And this has, I guess, the 40 gig hard drive in it as well, so that's a mystery solved. All right, well, I'm going to put the rescue and recovery disk in there, and we'll restart and boot from that, I guess. Spam the access IBM button so I can turn the active desktop back on. Or active desktop, the pre-desktop. All right, well, I'm gonna give this a second shot and see maybe if that fixed the issue. I'll be back after probably another hour of installing this thing. All right, well, it's been a few hours. I went through the whole restore process again, and as you can see, I've gotten farther than I did last time. Last time it did absolutely nothing, but it got as far as this and then gave me the same error message again. Now, what I noticed I was doing differently the second time I installed this, if you remember the first time round, I was getting error messages related to the device being busy and having issues copying files. And I noticed it like skipped over like a couple disks. This time round, what I did, obviously I didn't record it, was instead of putting the disk in and waiting for it to spin up and click OK for it to start reading the disk, I put the disk in and like click the mouse immediately for the system to just start reading it. And that actually seemed to work. And then I'm beginning to think I should do it again because I did not do it for disk 3. And disk 3 was the only one of the disk that I used that gave me that error message. And that's what gave me the idea to just immediately click OK instead of waiting for it to begin spinning up. Never had that issue before either. Once again, this is all really weird. I have no idea why it's doing any of this. It's being really annoying and picky. But I'm going to do it again. Another like hour and a half worth of installing crap here. And we're going to see if we get any farther. Because this looks... I don't know if this has anything to do with the install order of the disks. But this looks to be about the point in time that you'd start reading from whatever disk 3 didn't copy over. Because disk 3 did nothing. It basically like started and then stopped immediately and asked for disk 4, which once again, I don't know why this program even does that. I don't know why it wouldn't just halt everything as soon as it couldn't get the files copied over, because that's just a huge waste of time. Like if it needs files off that disk, why is it just skipping to the next one? I think that's kind of stupid. A little bit of an oversight, I think. But anyway, I will see you in another couple hours. Hopefully that fixes it. If not, I guess we'll figure it out. Hopefully. So much for not being up all night fixing it, I guess. Alright, so we have a new discovery here. This is not the error message you gave me last time, but I went back through my time lapses and found that this exact same file gave this cyclic redundancy check problem. So I don't think it's the hard drive. I hope it's not the hard drive anyway. That would be really annoying. What I'm thinking is I might have to burn another disk because there might have been some issue that went on with the writing of this disk maybe. I'm hoping. That's the only thing I can think of to get around this problem. So I'm gonna go write another disk and I'll be back. All right, we're gonna try our V2 disk and see if that fixes our problem here. So that's basically a demonstration of what I've been doing to get around some of these errors apparently. So drive, click in, okay, before it even spins up. All right, and I guess we'll find out if it works. All right, here we go, big moment of truth. Counting down and bam, we're good to go. It was the disk the whole time. Once again, drive, click in, okay. That fast. That's basically what you gotta do, otherwise it freaks out for some reason. Alright, hopefully next time you see the screen, we'll be on to the actual recovery restoration process. Hopefully finally getting into like the Windows XP environment. because I'm kind of getting sick of looking at this screen. That's another thing about this program, or this recovery tool, that I actually don't like, that really should have been there, is they did not program a countdown timer for removing disks from a drive, or even a message telling you actually should do that, because from my experience here, I've been noticing that this screen likes to hang on reboots, and I've noticed it's because the disk gets left in the disk drive. Whether or not it's actually tied to that, or I'm just seeing things or whatever, but it does tend to hang. Alright, so we're getting really close to the finish line here, as long as nothing else happens, which I don't even know if it's worth crossing my fingers at this point. It's almost like guaranteed, it seems like, with my adventures here. Something else might go wrong here, but let's see. Alright, well, it looks like we are nearing completion here, hopefully. Alright, yes please, I would love to restart the computer. Whoa. Trying to actually read what this, there's a string that keeps popping up at something if not exist. Huh, interesting. Alright, we're restarting again. Are we gonna get the Windows XP logo? Yeah, we got the Windows XP logo. That's a good sign. Means we're almost done with this. Well, I don't know if I want to call it a nightmare, I guess. It actually should have gone a lot smoother than it did. I think it really all just boils down to like one disk causing a problem that just snowballed into a bunch of different problems. I have no mouse input whatsoever. Nothing on the trackpad either. That's not a good sign. We are on Windows. I still have no mouse movement, which is a problem. I restarted the computer because I was stuck on that black screen with no movement or anything for a little while. Windows ran a check disk when I restarted. Made some corrections to the file system that made it boot. But now I have a whole new issue, which is I all of a sudden have no input whatsoever. Nothing's working. I don't have keyboard, I don't have mouse. Is there a reason for that? It's not frozen, the clock is working, so... Huh. Okay, this is a problem. I have zero input whatsoever. No, nothing from the track point, nothing from touchpad, nothing from the mouse. Where the hell is the Windows key on this keyboard? The hell? Where is the Windows key? Am I blind? Is there straight up no Windows key on this keyboard, or am I going insane? There is no Windows key on this keyboard. Okay, that's weird. I can't say I've ever seen that before, or I can't say I've ever seen it on a 2000s laptop. Huh. Okay, but why? I'm not getting anything, though. That's a problem. Well, I suppose it's time to do some troubleshooting again. Alright, well, surprise, surprise, we're back here again. So, I actually went on YouTube and looked up, like, a video on installing the rescue and recovery thing on a T43. And what I did by restarting there, granted, I was stuck there for about 10 minutes, no input, no nothing. Like, I had no reason to believe the computer was doing anything. It might not have been. I mean, the hard drive light wasn't even flashing, so I don't know. But what I managed to do there by restarting is completely break the out-of-box experience, the installer, the welcome to Windows XP installer thing. And so Windows booted right back up, went into its check disk utility, fixed a bunch of stuff that might not have even needed fixing, and just booted me right into the operating system without actually installing or initializing anything. And that's why I had like nothing when I booted into Windows XP. So we're going to go at this again. Hopefully it doesn't actually involve a full reinstall with all the disks because the partition is still there. But hopefully this is the final time I have to see this screen for a while because I'm really getting tired of it. I guess we'll find out. I mean, whatever. I mean, like I said, the issue I was experiencing there was I was stuck there for a good 10 minutes. Keep in mind, I've been pretty patient throughout all this. I'm pretty used to older machines taking a long time to do things. But when it's stuck there for 10 minutes on a black screen with nothing but a Windows cursor that I can't even interact with or move, that's my indication the computer's doing nothing and is locked up. Which has been pretty par for the course in using this computer anyway. Like I said, I'm seriously suspecting either a hard drive issue or a RAM issue with this machine. I really don't know which one, but something's not right. Because something is getting stuck somewhere. So maybe at some point, if I finally do get through all of this, maybe I'll have to run like a hard drive like check and a RAM checker as well to see which is the problem. Really hoping it's the RAM, because RAM is going to be a lot easier to replace and I don't have to sit through all of this again, unlike if I replace the hard drive. And also, I already have RAM like ready to go. I'd have to actually go out and buy a hard drive for this thing. So anyway, I'll be back when this is all done. Alright, so what I'm going to do, because it just hung up on me again, is we're going to do a quick memory test here, because I'm really curious to know if this RAM's no good or not. So I'm going to let it do this and we'll find out what's going on there, and then I might also run like a bootable hard drive tester as well, just for the hell of it, because I'm really getting sick of this and I'm really curious to know what the problem is, because it's really like causing problems for this install. Alright, well, it completed the test with no errors, which means I'm going to move on to the hard drive. This is where I'm kind of a little bit scared. Alright, now we're in Parted Magic on Hiron's boot CD, and I'm going to run an extended self-test on the drive here and see if it brings back any errors. I really hope not. But if it doesn't, I'll also be really confused as to why this computer likes to hang so much. Well, that's exactly what I was afraid of. Completed with read failure. So, this means this entire time it's very possible that the hard drive is what's been screwing us here. That really sucks. So, I suppose I can leave it there for now. And I assure you, there will be a part 2 to this. I'm going to get a replacement hard drive for this, and we're going to try this again. Because that really sucks. Yeah. I really should have done this earlier, honestly, but I wasn't really expecting it. And I never really experienced much issue with the hard drive before. I mean, I've had a couple installs of Windows on here already, so it must have really been on its way out by the time I decided to do this. But anyway, I guess that's all for this video. It truly did not go as I expected. In fact, it went the complete opposite way I was really hoping, and it was basically a waste of, what time is it now? It's 1 o'clock, so I started this about a little bit before 6 p.m. So, you know, a complete waste of about 7 hours of my time that I'll never get back. Anyway, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell, because believe me, I'm pretty sure at least the next video will be the follow-up to this. when I get the replacement hard drive. Anyway, that's all. See ya.